we're going to be doing is we're going to be practicing the prediction strategy that we've learned with fusion. So, okay, let's start off here, guys. Why would you want to ever use a predicting strategy? Talk to the person next to you real quickly.
So you can better read it and understand the message more. If I read it really okay,
All right, 3, 2, 1. Nicole, what's one reason you'd want to ever use the predicting strategy?
so you can understand what you're reading.
So you can understand what you're reading. Does anybody have another reason why we'd want to use the predicting strategy? Christian?
To help you understand the book and the questions better.
Excellent. So if you have difficult reading, this is definitely when you'd want to use the predicting strategy, correct? What kinds of reading materials would we want to do the predicting strategy with? Talk to your partner real quickly again.
Hard books.
No, what kinds of books? I'm talking about what kinds of books would you use? What kind of reading materials would you need? Okay, Allie, what's one kind of reading material we might want to use this with? Informational books for sure. What's another kind, Bree?
Like history?
History, social studies, textbooks. Very good. What other kinds of books, Austin, would you want to use it for?
Maybe like mystery, that's because they ask questions.
Ah, good. So would you want to use this like with So Be It? Yeah, because what do we want to do with that book as well?
Find out.
We definitely want to understand it. Okay, so in a nutshell here, why would you ever want to use the predicting strategy? Mandy, can you help me out with that?
Because if you didn't use it, then you might be, when you read the book, kind of like, what's going on? Like, what's happening?
Okay, in the predicting strategy, we have a mnemonic that we're working on. What is the mnemonic that we're supposed to remember? Oh, I like our hands being up. A lot of you should look at your book as well. That might help remind you. Okay, so on the count of 3, I'd like us to tell me what the mnemonic is. 1, 2, 3.
Clue.
And let's spell it for me, okay? C, L, U, E. All right, so start me off with, what should I look for in the mnemonic clue? Lainey, can you start me off with what I look for with C, please?
Title.
Well, what does C stand for, Lainey? Checking for clues. And what kinds of things would I want to look for?
Title.
Title, stop. Pick somebody else to tell me the other one. Allie.
Author.
Author. Pick somebody else to tell me another one.
Pictures or visuals.
What are pictures or visuals? I don't get that.
Graphs, cartoons.
Great. And what do the pictures tell you?
Kind of a little bit what the story's about.
Excellent, Marco. Pick somebody else and tell me another one that we do when we're checking for clues.
Reading clues.
Reading clues. And we've also added something else, which is what?
Scan.
Scan. And what does it mean to scan there, Christian?
Like, look for big words, maybe dates,
Italicize. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, and what should that do for us then, Christian?
Um,
Give us an idea
of the story.
of what it's going to be about, the story or the information. There is one other thing. What if there are no pictures, we can't find the author? What should we do, Nicole?
Read the first sentence.
Very good. Read the first sentence. Excellent. All right, so L stands for what, guys?
Link to
Link to prior knowledge. Mandy, what does that mean if we're going to link to our prior knowledge?
Like what we already know about the subject.
Okay, and what else do we do then?
Check what the clues suggest.
Excellent. You guys are doing a great job with that. Wonderful. And the next clue is? U, which stands for?
Uncover predictions.
And Austin, what should you say when you get to uncover predictions?
Start with I predict and then
So I want you to predict what the story is going to be about or what the text is about?
yeah.
Why? What does that do for you when you make a prediction?
When you predict, like if you don't really predict anything, you're not really gonna be thinking about the story.
Oh, I love it. You're not thinking about the story. Because remember, this is usually difficult text that we're trying to figure out. The E is the most difficult one. And what does E stand for, you guys? Examine the reading. And that's where we were practicing yesterday. When we're examining the reading, we're actually doing, because these first 3 steps, what are we not doing?
Read the story.
We haven't read any of the story. Thank you, Nicole. Now when we get to the E, we are going to be reading. In fact, it says, read part of the selection and. And what should you do, Mandy? What's one thing?
Check again for the reading clues.
Good. And what else should you do, Lainey?
Link to prior knowledge.
Link. What does it mean, link to prior knowledge?
Means the stuff that you already know.
Very good. And the last one, Allie?
Uncover other predictions.
Good. And let me ask this, as you're reading, how many times should you do this? Should you do it, read it like Coco the kitten, blah, 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 done? Oh yeah, now I'm going to think about what I read. Should I do it that way, Bree? No, why not?
Because you won't understand what you're reading.
Yeah, if it's an easy article, I'm sure you can read all the way through. That's where you as the reader needs to decide how many times you need to stop. What's one way to make that decision? When we look at it, are we just going to stop at one word and just say, every time I see the word the, I'm going to stop? How do I know where to stop, Nicole?
You can usually stop by like the paragraphs.
Paragraphs is definitely a great idea. Marco?
Or like something that you recently read about.
Ah, good. Christian?
On an important part,
An important part. How would you know it's an important part? Because it's important to
the story.
you. How about that? Remember, because we're always doing what the entire time? We're linking to our prior knowledge. Good. And again, what is this called, guys?
Clue.
It's called clue. That's our mnemonic. But what strategy are we doing here?
Prediction strategy.
Prediction strategy. Great. That's perfect, guys. C!
We're the rosewood fusion class, and we're doing the clue strategy and predicting.
Good. Let's all begin.
Okay, so the title is the national anthem. For the C step of clue, the first thing we need to do is check for the title, and the title is the national anthem. So I'm thinking that it's going to be maybe how the national anthem was made, and the author is Jamestown, and I know they write all our fusion stories. And a visual clue is an American flag, so maybe it's how the flag and the national anthem were created. And reading clues. There's nothing italicized. There's a date, September 13th, 1814, War of 1812. There's a few names, Fort McHenry, British. There's that September 13 again. And the first sentence is the words of the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. So that's probably how the national anthem began.
Go!
Now I'm going to do the L step. I'm going to determine what the clues are just for the reading. That the words of the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, were written so the flag is how the flag got the start because of the war, and now we have the flag, and then he or she already knows about the topic. The topic is the national anthem, and it's about the national anthem was probably because it became because it was from the war in 1812.
Okay, now let's do the clue strategy. And what I already know about the flag and the national anthem is that it's just a song about America and its freedom and the war. And I predict that this story is going to be all about all about the war and how like the flag was still there in the end, and about the person that wrote it.
our flag was still there.
I think that I'm pretty much the same. How it's kind of like the story of this is really like how the national anthem goes.
National anthem
And at the beginning when it said,
because he was saying that.
let's see, where does it say it?
He was kind of like done.
Was right at the spur of the moment. I think that means like right then and there. And so it kind of got into it where he just like all of a sudden once he thought of it, he just took a paper, an envelope out of his pocket and then wrote down what he thought would be a good Star Spangled Banner because he was feeling that way. And it's kind of like he was feeling kind of low, and then he noticed that our flag was still there once the war was over.
Okay, we're gonna do the E step. You read the selection and then suggest the clues. The words of the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, were written on the spur of the moment. It was a moment when the feelings were most intense. It was a moment during the War of 1812 on the night of September 13, 1814. The British had captured an American doctor and were holding him on their fleet anchored off Baltimore, Maryland. Francis Scott Key, a young lawyer, arranged to go under the flag of truce and ask for a doctor's release. But the British were planning an attack on Fort McHenry before moving on to attack Baltimore. So, what I know about the Star Spangled Banner is that it's America's flag, and that the national anthem, sometimes you sing it at football games and at junior high. And so, I know that they were going to plan an attack, and they were holding an American doctor anchored off Baltimore.
The east. There was a mist above the water, and Key could not see the fort. The bombs and firing had ceased suddenly in the night. If only he could see which flag was flying. And the breeze began to blow the mist away. Straining his eyes, he saw what he had hardly dared to hope for. With a corner shot away and one star gone, the Star Spangled Banner was still flying above the fort. And so I'm gonna kind of make another connection to that, or check for just reading clues and stuff like that. And he was writing down like the words of the national anthem that kind of came to him, and it was saying that it was sung in English tune that was famous back then, and I'm guessing it's still famous kind of now because we still use that song and sing it.
So,
and
link new clues to prior knowledge. Well, we know that the national anthem was named after the flag, the Star Spangled Banner, because he thought of that. I think that it said when the flag was up, like 2 stars were gone, and then a rip down here. So we know that the flag, if the flag was still up and in like one piece and stuff, that whoever's flag was up won. Because if their flag was down, the other side burned it down. So we know that,
or kind of destroyed it. And then we'll cover another prediction. I'm gonna predict that the national anthem is still gonna be like really famous in the future and from now on, because we still kind of sing it, and yeah.